What is going on, comic book familia? Welcome back to our longest running show on YouTube. Peter, we've been doing this for at least 2 years now.
Yeah, good for you guys. Good for you guys. Always look forward to this one, Efren. I was sad last month. My fault completely, but we missed last month, didn't we?
Yeah, months go by quick sometimes, before
Yeah.
it was gone. And sometimes, we just miss a month every now and then, doesn't
Yeah.
happen. Next month, we're going to have to do it before the middle of the month of December, because I'll be gone for the last part of December too. So we'll have to do it in about 2 weeks, more or less, somewhere around there.
The problem with missing a month, Efren, I don't know if you found this, but when I was looking at the solicitations in this one, there was like issue 2s and things, and I was thinking, oh God, we've missed the first issue of that.
Yeah.
To talk about,
Yeah.
But yeah, still mentioned a few of them.
But welcome to our show. This is where Peter and I, we do advanced orders for books that are coming out 2 or 3 months from now. And these are books that are coming out in January already, 2025. Wow. Crazy.
Madness.
Yeah.
We've got a few people in the chat already, Efren. So Fuzzy's just saying, will the world even exist come January? Will books be illegal come January? All the big answers we need to know. Bloody Americans. Yeah, you've had a tough couple of days, Efren. Tough couple of days. Yeah.
Thank God for comic books.
Yeah. And we've got Bat Dan in the chat. Nice to see you, Bat Dan. Looking forward to talking some comic books. Fuzzy saying you had one job. I don't know if he means America or if he means me. And yeah, I passed it up.
Yeah. There was not to talk politics too much, but every now and then it comes up here in California to be annexed from the United States, because California by itself is such a it gives so much to the economy.
Yeah.
Every now and then it just floats around. You see it. Should California annex itself from the United States? Yeah,
that'd be cool. Yeah,
that'd be cool. So, but this is our show where we pick advanced orders. Peter and I, we go through. There's a site that we use, and we just pick the books that have grabbed our interest. Every now and then, Peter and I pick the same books, but we don't do them twice, obviously. But these are books that are coming out in January. And Peter, are you ready?
Yeah, sure. Let's crack on, mate.
So advanced orders for January 2025, believe it or not. And shut up and take my money. These are books that we're probably going to be buying or at least reading. And I believe you're up first, Peter.
Yeah, this I don't know. Again, this is a one, like I've just mentioned at the start. We've missed issue 1. We should have talked about issue 1 last week. It just piqued my interest. So this is Hell Hunters number 2. It's a limited series, 5 by Philip Kennedy Johnson. And it's a mix-up or a team-up, as it were, of Nick Fury, Peggy Carter, Ghost Rider, the Soldier Supreme. And it just sounds really, really interesting. Now, that's obviously Wolverine in the front there, isn't it? Yeah. So it says... the hunt down the demonic Captain Brutnica. I've never heard of that one. They also come across a squad of Nazis beset by an unstoppable force of allied soldiers. That turns out to be one Bowie knife-wielding killing machine, Logan. Now, the reason I've gone for this, Efren, is I'm in a bit of a nostalgia kick for Nick Fury and World War II particular and military kind of stuff on the back of Get Fury, which was just absolutely superb. So this sounds interesting to us. So yeah, keen to get into this one, see what it's all about. Bit of good action there, I hope. So yeah, looking forward to this one.
Do you know who the Soldier Supreme is?
I don't. So the Soldier Supreme, so I don't know who that is. So yeah, that's a new one on me. That's not a character. I've not heard of a character called that before, unless it's announced it in the first issue solicitation. Let one know in the chat. Fuzzy, you're normally good at this kind of stuff. Is Soldier Supreme an existing character, or is it going to be? Do you remember a while ago, Efren? We've always had Doctor Strange as the Sorcerer Supreme, and then there was a run of X-Men. Okay. Sorry, there was a run of Avengers books. I think it was called the Mighty Avengers, where Hank Pym was kind of anointed as the Scientist Supreme.
Yes,
a cosmic rule kind of thing.
Yes,
I don't know if they're following suit with that, and there's going to be a Soldier Supreme. I don't know. Interesting.
Also, Captain Bruckner. I never heard of him.
No.
I think Ghost Rider 44 showed up recently in a Hulk book.
So Ghost Rider 44 is superb. So yeah,
Yeah.
he appeared in an issue of Hulk
Yeah.
recently, and he was very, very cool. Yeah,
You know,
enjoyed it.
my daughter every now and then she says to me, "How do you remember this stuff? You know, about comic books. You know, you just brought up the Scientist Supreme." I go, "I
Yeah.
don't know. It just always sticks. Sometimes some things just stick in my head. You know, that I don't forget
I'm the
about
same.
comic books. You
I'm
know,
the same. I couldn't tell you anything about geography or history to an extent, but I can tell you all about comic book stuff.
yeah. It
That's
just
the
sticks in our
level of
head. You know,
that's
so
the level of importance I put on this stuff. Just going to quickly jump to the chat here, Efren. Bat Dan is saying California Shire has a nice ring
it
to it.
does.
It does. We've got Connie. Nice to see you, Connie.
Hey,
Hope
Connie.
you're doing well. And we've got Mr. Keegan himself. Hey, yo, James. Hope you're doing well, bud.
Yay. All right, my turn. I believe I am next. And I picked Doom and Rocket. These are one shots. They're going to be coming up next year. It says it's by J. Michael Straczynski. It says unlikely duels from all across the Marvel universe. I know this first one, I don't think it's ever happened before, but J. Michael Straczynski brings his incredible character work to beloved Marvel characters, great and small, in a series of exciting one-shots. First up, Doctor Doom and Rocket, drawn by Will Robson. Doctor Doom does the one thing he never wants to do: ask for a favor. What awaits Rocket in Latveria? The picture on the right is like an overview of what some of these one shots are going to be, all the characters involved in it.
Yeah.
So this one has grabbed my interest because I love Rocket Raccoon, his just mischievousness, but he's such a smart character at the same time. So I can't wait for this one to come out. I'm definitely going to read this one. I got to see, Dr. Doom asking somebody for a favor. That doesn't happen often. So I'm curious to see what this book's all about.
So, Efren, this was nearly my Nope book that we'll go to at the end. I don't know why. I'm a big fan of J. Michael Straczynski, particularly after his work on Babylon 5 and things like that. And he did some great work on Spider-Man. So, I'll probably give this a read, but I don't know. This could be a disaster, I think, in terms of just silliness. The image on the other side there with all the different crossover characters, I'm not recognizing a couple of them. There's like an army looking guy. I've not seen him before. I don't know who he is. And then I'm assuming, is that Doc Ock next to Captain America at the bottom? Or a version of Doc Ock. He's got tentacles.
Oh, yeah, maybe it is. Yeah.
But I don't know who the military guy is, unless it's an early Fury or something. Or
where's the military guy next to?
Just above Rocket.
Just above Rocket?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure who that is. Yeah, that's a good point. But I know one of the Warriors 3, what's his name, Volstagg?
Yeah.
He's in it. I liked it when he became Thor for a while.
Yeah.
He became a different version of Thor. I like that character, But yeah, and then you see Galactus all the way in the back.
Yeah. I wonder who the team and Galactus up with. That would be interesting.
And Fing Fang Foom right behind the Hulk, See who's he going to team up with. But yeah, this is coming out. This is one of my picks. And Peter, you are next.
Okie dokie. So I'm into the Ultimate Spider-Man run at the moment. I've been really, really enjoying it. It has been keeping my interest, which is great. And I know we always pick kind of first appearances or first issues and things like that, but actually, I think it's important that we also talk about ongoing series that we're enjoying. So, Ultimate Spider-Man for me is a one of them, and this is the introduction of the Sinister Six. So, Craven's most dangerous game. The Sinister Six are all hunting Spider-Man and the Green Goblin for their ringleader Kingpin, and this time Craven has the upper hand. So, I'm interested to see the Ultimate Universe versions of the Sinister Six. I think it could be really, really interesting. And I'm loving this kind of buddy relationship between Spider-Man and the Green Goblin. That could potentially go completely wrong. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's very cool. Are you still reading this one, Efren?
I'm still reading it. And what I like about this Ultimate Spider-Man particularly is they pick him up as an adult. The way it started, sorry for spoilers, but they pick him up as an adult and he was not Spider-Man. He never got bit in high school, and he's an adult, and he was living his life, his dream life, married to Mary Jane, and they had 2 kids, and he's living the perfect life. Uncle Ben is still alive, and Aunt May is the one that died, and So
And
I think
that's,
that's what his life should have been if he had
yeah.
not been bitten by a spider. You know,
And that's, you know, for me, one of the key things is we've got the relationship with Mary Jane back,
yes,
which I've missed. And I'm loving the relationship between Uncle Ben and JJ Jameson. I just love the way they bounce off each other. We've got Lewis Cross. Nice to see you, Lewis. Hope you're well. Saying, loving this book so far. Yeah, out of all of the relaunched Ultimate line, I have to say this is the only one I'm really engaged in. I've dropped off X-Men very quickly. In the Ultimates, I didn't. Yeah.
I tried X-Men, like you said, and I was like, oh my God, what is this about? You know, and I just dropped it. It seemed too childish to me a little bit, you know.
Just odd.
Yeah.
And I never got into the Ultimate Black Panther, unfortunately. Bat Dancing, yeah, me too. The only book I read, Marvel book I read. It's a good one. It is a good one. Fuzzy's just confirming it doesn't say anywhere who Soldier Supreme is. The last one was Sentry in the Jason Aaron run. That's interesting. Yeah, see, that's got us even more intrigued. I'll have to pick it up now to find that out. We've got Jack. Nice to see you, Jack. Hope you're doing well, bud. Evening, anyone still reading X-Men? I got on my pull list, but just haven't got around to reading. Want to know whether to drop it or not. Do you mean X-Men, Ultimate X-Men, Jack, or do you mean the X titles in general? I mean, I can summarize the answer to both of those questions is utter rubbish. Ultimate X-Men, awful. And the relaunch of the X titles, interesting to know what people in the chat think, but the relaunch of the X titles for me has just been a massive failure. There's not one book that I'm really enjoying. There's been nothing to kind of, I don't know, excite us. And I don't know why. It's really, really sad. Connie, I'm not reading anything from Marvel at the moment. Having a bit of a dry spell with Marvel. There are some decent books out there, Connie, but I think, as me and Efren often say, indie's the best, to be honest.
Yes.
Batman, first one issue of each of the new regular issues was enough for me. Yeah. And I don't think I've ever read X-Men. She just doesn't have, you know. It's a shame, Connie, because the X-Men used to have some cracking titles and some really good stories. I'd always point people towards Age of Apocalypse. I think that's an amazing series. But just fallen flat in its face. Are you still reading the X titles, Efren?
I'm the opposite of you, Peter. I don't know if it's just a nostalgia thing with me, but I just really enjoy reading the X-Men. And I know these current series aren't not top notch, like in days gone by, so to speak. But I've been reading X-Men and all these Marvel comic book lines for over 50 years. And it's just part of me. I'm not saying it's the best, but I like reading it. You know, I like seeing how these characters have progressed, what happened to them, Krakoa. I knew something was going to happen eventually to them. And, you know, they put them down again. You know, with all these superhero books, they have to be down and on their luck for it to be, for us, I think, for us to have, to enjoy them. You know, if they had everything handed to them in a silver platter, nobody would read these books.
Yeah.
So I know, like I said, X-Men is not the best as it was in days gone by, so to speak, but I still enjoy reading it.
It boggles my mind how you would think with Marvel, regular Spider-Man titles and X titles are kind of like Marvel's cash cows. It's the biggest titles, and yet they seem to be some of the worst in terms of quality. I don't know. It's just strange. Jack, damn, the main titles. I definitely dropped off. It had all hopes of this relaunch. Really fed up of Marvel now. Yeah, mate. I mean, I might just be being negative about it. Others in the chat, let me know if you've been reading the X titles. It's just not for me. 5 or 6 X titles are in the top 10 sellers every week. Yeah, they shift huge numbers still. You're absolutely right, Fuzzy. They're still selling, churning out big number books. Yeah.
I think what the problem is, and I've mentioned this before when we've done other shows, that we're talking about characters who have been around for over 60 plus years, and how hard it must be to keep these characters fresh. You know, what can they do? You know, that's why they do Absolute Batman now, Absolute Spider-Man, Absolute Superman. They do Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Black Panther, because they want to start fresh.
Yeah.
You know, but they don't want to lose the main characters who have been around for over 60 years. Imagine a TV show that was around for 60 years. I don't think it never happened, you know, but do you still like The Simpsons? I mean, that's been around for over 30 years.
So I was talking to someone about this the other day. I haven't watched Simpsons or South Park or Family Guy, actually, for maybe 5-10 years.
Wow.
You know, so I'm totally lost off with what's going on in their universes and what the quality is like.
Yeah, it's very difficult, you know, keeping these characters fresh. You know.
Connie's just saying, I didn't get into comics until 2021. Find the X-Men to be so anti-friendly to new readers. That is very true. That is very true, Connie. I agree with that. All variant cover buys, though, fuzzy, like ESM. Yeah. Doctor Who, good point, has been around for 60 years.
Wow.
Varying quality, though, Connie, I would say. But yeah, you're right. It's been around for 60 years, as has, it's not a TV series, but James Bond, I guess, is a franchise.
Wow. Didn't think about
and
that.
I would say the current series of Doctor Who was pretty good. I enjoyed that. Right.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
Next up is my choice. This cover, it just reminded me, speaking of days gone by, 6 years ago, of Hulk, like in his heyday when he was like against all odds, just the creature that he is. You know, this is Incredible Hulk number 21, writer Philip Kennedy Johnson. If you haven't been reading Incredible Hulk, this iteration of Incredible Hulk, he's been fighting monsters since issue number 1, basically. Monsters face off versus Werewolf by Night. The Incredible Hulk and Werewolf by Night face off against the immortal wolf demon Verkolak, as Hulk's destruction of the Skinwalker cult attracts the attention of the oldest, most horrifying forces of Earth. So I have been enjoying this because it takes like a monstrous turn on the Incredible Hulk, more scary like, which the Hulk is. He's a monster. So
Yeah.
I think I have been enjoying this run so far.
So I really enjoyed the start of this. I loved the concept. I loved the introduction of the Ghost Rider character, a couple of issues and all the rest of it. And then there was a 3 or 4 issue run where I think he was in Old Orleans or something like that. And the art style seemed to change from issue to issue. And it kind of turned us off and I got a little bit bored. And I have to be honest, I've not picked it up since. So I need to jump back on this because it was canny to start with, but it was kind of, I don't know, I was starting to get a bit irritated with the flipping of the art. But I love the concept. So yeah, I will pick this up and try and catch up with it. Fuzzy's just saying, this started good 2 years ago. I'm amazed it hasn't tied it up yet. Yeah. It fell off around 8 or 9 for me. Yeah, I think I loved the concept, like I said, but it was one of these ones where it was kind of like, right, where you kind of need to get to the end of the story now. And I don't know if they've done that since, Efren. Like I said, I've missed the last couple of issues. Yeah. But it was kind of, I'd like to know what the overarching point is now instead of just Monster of the Week issue. Hiya.
Hi. I love the Hulk too. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But for the actors, I love Mark Ruffalo. I didn't like the other guy.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo is a brilliant, and he's also a very switched on guy in terms of his politics and stuff and his social commentary. So yeah. So yeah, Efren, I will get back into this. Are you up to date with it, Efren, now?
Yep, I'm up to date with most of my books. You know, most of them I'm about 2 or 3 issues behind, but I still read the Hulk. Like I said, Spider-Man, Daredevil. You know me, I'm just reading them.
Yeah.
You know, so I try to save time to read them at least 2 or 3 books a day.
Jack saying, if has the Hulk still got that horror style? So it has, Jack, but completely forgot about it. I think that's my problem with it slightly, Jack, that each issue was good, but like I say, kind of Monster of the Week, and it was easy to drop off it a little bit. And once you miss a few issues, you forget about it. But yeah, I will go back and reread it.
Before we go any further, Peter, I don't think we ever asked this question to any who's ever watching this. If you have any books, advanced orders that you're looking forward to, please let us know.
Yeah,
these are our picks, you know. So
yeah, absolutely. If there's something that we missed, let we know in the chat what you guys have ordered or plan on ordering.
Yep, for sure. And you're up next. Oh, there's a great.
Do you know what? I'm sorry. I know it's Marvel cheese at its finest. Again, this is an issue 2, missed issue 1 last week. I did read the mini series, the Helverine mini series, which was really interesting. For those of you that don't know, basically Helverine, so a cross between Wolverine and Ghost Rider, was a kind of a throwaway character in a mini series a while ago, but it really got kind of popular and people liked the concept of it, so they did another mini series and brought it back. The latest version of it is basically Wolverine's son, who died a while ago, has been resurrected as the Helverine. So this is basically a version of Wolverine with Ghost Rider type powers, or a demon kind of spirit. And you know what? He's an interesting character. Like you were saying before, Efren, a lot of these comics and characters have been around for a long, long time. So I think when we do get a new try on something. Yes, it's an amalgamation of two existing type characters, but when we do get a new take on something, I think it's always worth giving it a shot and seeing what it's like. So this I'll never pronounce that name. Is it Akihiro?
I think it's Akihiro, or like you said, Akihiro.
Akihiro must revisit the birthplace of Helvreen at the North Pole. And he's never been hotter than this. When the demon Bark Gull, who's the creature that became Helvreen, resurrected Akihiro and they became Helvreen, it was only part of a larger Hellbound story. Interesting stuff. I like a bit of Ghost Rider. I like a bit of Wolverine. So yeah, I'll give this a go. Fuzzy's just saying there's a brilliant Dave Johnson cover for #1 for this. Oh, I've not seen that one, Fuzzy. Yeah. I'll have to check that out. And Connie said, I don't think I've ever advanced ordered anything in my life. I used to back in the day when I had a pull list, Connie, but I don't really advance order a lot of stuff these days. This is more just for stuff that's going to pique my interest, if I'm honest. We've got Shiny. Nice to see you. Oh, it's sweet. I didn't know Ghost Rider and Wolverine had a baby. Congrats. Yeah. Came out very hot. Yeah. Next, Efren, what we got?
Next is my choice, and this is Iron Man. I'm just a nostalgic kick. I mean, Scarlet Witch, what she's done, and as far as comic book characters concerned, she went like being the biggest villain, no more mutants, and just like, and being, back into the Marvel universe, like as a good hero, so to speak. And she's showing up on Iron Man, and this is Iron Man #4. It says Crimson Avengers under attack. Desperate to regain the use of his vast array of armors, Iron Mist enlists a fellow Avenger for a magical investigation. But what the Scarlet Witch discovers will plant a bomb in Tony's life. And the question is when, not if, it will go off and who will get caught in the blast. So I just, like I said, I just love reading these books. I mean, as much as like I keep saying love, but I enjoy, indie books and the freshness of it. I'm just a Marvel guy. And I really like this cover too. Looks like she's being attacked by, I'm not sure if it's Iron Man, if it's Iron Man attacking him or some other type of entity, but she looks like she's being encased in some Iron Man suit or something like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like she's armor.
And I haven't read Iron Man #1 yet. It's just rebooted again, but I'm curious to see, where this character goes.
Yeah. I've not picked up Iron Man 1 yet. Fuzzy's saying it was poor. He didn't like it at all. It looked interesting in terms of the design of the armor. So, yeah, I will read it at some point. It's on my list to read. Yeah, Connie's saying, I only have Blow Away on my pull list. I'm not sure what that one. I've not heard of that one, Connie. Let me know a little bit in the chat what that one is. Jack, interested in the new Aquaman? We're going to come to that one, Jack, because, it looks interesting. Fuzzy saying, Blown Away was good about the wildlife photographer. That one's missed. I don't think I've seen that one. Did Andy talk about that in the Killer Comic Show? Maybe it's ringing a bell now about it being a wildlife photographer published by Image. We'll check that one out. It sounds interesting.
That's what I like when people give comments about books that we don't know about.
It's
a book to read. So I believe you are next, sir. Oh. I love this. Yeah,
just talking Ultimates. We mentioned Ultimate Spider-Man here. We're getting the ultimate version of Wolverine. He's making his first appearance, not in this book, but in a book that's out, I think, next week.
Okay.
But this just looks cool. I'm a sucker for new designs of Wolverine. And I think from what I remember reading, this version of Wolverine's a kind of a cross with Omega Red and things like that. So it sounds really interesting. So Ultimate Wolverine 1 of 12. So it says basically the Ultimate Wolverine, in order to maintain control of their corner of the Maker's world, 3 members of the Council, Magic, one of my favorite characters, Colossus, and Omega Red, deploy their most lethal asset, the Winter Soldier. But who is the weapon behind the mask? Sounds interesting. So he's kind of their version of Winter Soldier. And I love that cover. I think that cover is really, really cool. So I will pick this up and give it a go and just see what it's all about.
I'm going to pick it up too, but I find it interesting. But I wonder who the character is actually going to be behind the mask.
Yeah.
I don't think they mentioned Logan on here. They say Wolverine.
No. No,
Yeah.
I've got a feeling it's going to be so. I think it's going to be Bucky Barnes. I
Yeah.
think because they've mentioned that it's their version of the Winter Soldier. So I do wonder if it's going to be Bucky in some way. Hi, Ron Hoot. Nice to see you, bud. We've got Kenneth in the chat. Always good to see you, Kenneth. I hope you are well. Connie, see, you just mentioned Winter Soldier, so I'm listening now. Well, this is, I think, it's going to be Bucky. I would imagine it's going to be Bucky, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But it sounds interesting.
I think it's going to be Bucky too, because they mentioned the Winter Soldier, but I don't think it's going to be a proper Logan at all. You know, or if it's not Bucky, maybe somebody else that just.
Well, is there a? So I'm not reading. I don't think you are, Efren. There is an Ultimate X-Men book, obviously by Peach Momoko.
Mm-hmm.
Is Wolverine featuring in that?
I'm not reading it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's
on
in
the
that.
book that I gave up on. I just went, I don't get this at all. So I don't know. That's a good question. I thought you said he was going to show up in a book next week somewhere. Ultimate Wolverine.
So this version of Wolverine's going to show up. I can't remember. I think it's just called Ultimates or something like that. Okay. It's a special. I think Ultimates issue 1. It's kind of the roundup of the last year or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be Robert Downey Jr. You think Robert Downey Jr. is everybody at this point?
Yeah,
you're right.
Good point. I am up next. Something about characters that come from the future that go to the past or our present. I just always enjoy. And this is Power Man Timeless. Last year's annual issue of Marvel's Timeless anthology introduced. I didn't know about it. I didn't even read that. Introduced the latest Power Man, a version of Luke Cage, who has survived until the far future as the last remaining hero, now imbued with the special abilities of Iron Fist, Sentry, and the Hulk. I went, dang, this is a one-shot. And like I said, I didn't even know he came out already a year ago. I'm going to try to find that book and read it, see what this character is all about. But to me, when characters come back from the future, like Kitty Pryde in the original Days of Future Past, she came back to the present time, I always enjoy. And I just, boy, if this guy has all these powers, I mean, and he's going to meet up with present day Luke Cage too in this book.
That's a hell of a power set. If he's got Luke Cage's power, Sentry, Iron Fist, and Hulk.
Yeah.
Bit overpowered.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've not read a lot of Luke Cage books, to be honest. So yeah, this is interesting.
I was a big fan of the old days Luke Cage and Iron Fist book. Power Man Iron Fist back in the day. So yeah, I want to read this book, and I got to find that one book, Timeless, from last year. See if I can find it. See what this
is that the one with, or is it the year before where there was the Miss Minutes variant cover?
Oh yeah,
that was a Timeless book as well. But I don't know if that's this one
at all. Yeah, see if I can find it and pick it up before this book comes out.
Nice.
And you are oh gosh, here we go.
Come on.
Next.
Come on. So this is I'm gonna show off some comics, Efren, as well. This is representative, unless you've picked them. I don't know if you might have picked them, of the big 3 absolute books we've got. So we've got Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, and Absolute Wonder Woman out at the moment. Absolute Batman was tremendous. Absolute Wonder Woman was tremendous. I haven't read Absolute Superman yet. Let me know in the chat. Fuzzy, I know you got your copy early. Let me know in the chat if you've actually read it yet. I've picked up, ready for Thought Bubble, 3 variants. So we've got Absolute Superman there, Absolute Batman, and Absolute Wonder Woman. So the artist for these were limited edition UK exclusives, I think. But the artist for these is going to be at Thought Bubble, so I'm going to get him signed. And I've got 2 sets of the 3 of them because they are stunning. But yeah, the book Absolute Batman is phenomenal. I'm really, really enjoying it. Just get the picture back up. I'm loving the way that he's costume. I was really negative about this to start with, saying, I didn't like how bulky he was and stuff. But it actually works for the story. So yeah, I'm gushing about it. It's very good. You all know what it is. It's by Scott Snyder. It's an interesting new take on the Batman. So yeah, I'd recommend picking this one up. Bat Dan is saying, all been good so far. Just read Superman before the show. I'm going to try and read it tomorrow, see what it's like. But yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be good. Good to hear that you enjoyed it, Bat Dan.
I haven't read it yet. Is he that bulky, or is it just a costume?
No, he's that bulky. He's basically he's a big bodybuilder. He kind of does a lot of time in the gym and things like that. So he is yeah, that is representative of what he looks like when he's got the costume off as well.
And it is Bruce Wayne?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, there's no getting away from the fact it's an over-exaggerated, very Frank Miller kind of esque design for him. But yeah, it's pretty cool, and you'll like some of the elements of things they do with the costume, Ephron, which are different. It's just nice to see a different take.
Yeah.
Dr. Von Hoot is just saying, I mean, he does look a bit daft, but it's also super cool. He does. And Batman's saying Superman was decent, good stuff. How did you get yours, Peter? I pre-ordered with FP, who are waiting stock, not convinced they'll come before Thought Bubble. Got mine off eBay, and I want to say Sad Lemon, I think, maybe Batman. Whilst Ephron's talking about his next book, I'll have a quick look on eBay and see who I got them off. And Von Hoot is just saying, I read Absolute Soups and it's an interesting take. Not sure how much I'll carry on with it, mind. Probably just read it on the app. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I am up next. I put 3 of them on here, but they're all What If series. What Ifs, when What If first came out in the 1970s, I loved it. I mean, it just gave stories that weren't part of the normal Marvel 616 universe. Who's the first one? I mean, I'll talk about these in a minute, but the first one was like, what if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four? I mean, who didn't think of that back in the day? So this is another reiteration of What If series. And the first one is What If Galactus transformed a Moon Knight and then transformed Spider-Gwen. And then the one I'm looking forward to is Transformed Rogue. So these are 3 books that are coming out in January. And I think they're just one-shots. And I can't wait to read these books. I think What If series, it just brings back so many fond memories to me that hopefully these are good storylines. And I can't wait to see how these characters change, power-wise, with the cosmic power that they're going to be imbued with, especially Rogue. I mean, she basically, Rogue's powers, anything she touches, she absorbs. So I'm curious to see how their lives would have changed if they had become heralds of Galactus. So that's why I put these 3 as one pick. So basically, I'm going to buy them and read them. So can't wait for them to come out.
I'm a big fan of What If. So I did spot these, and I thought, that's interesting. The reason I didn't pick these myself, Ephron, is I'm a bit Moon Knighted out, and I'm never really getting into Spider-Gwen. So the one I would most likely read is Rogue, to be honest. Yeah. But I think they all look interesting. They all do look interesting. Batman, I've just popped in the chat. I picked those comics up from Infinity and Beyond UK on eBay. They were a little bit pricey because I've gone for the Virgin, I think it's called a Blood version or something like that. But yeah, you can get them from there.
Hey, speaking of Thought Bubble, real quick, is CGC going to be there? Or
no, they don't do verification and things like that at Thought Bubble.
Is there going to be like some third party there?
Probably not, Ephron. They don't normally. There used to be someone from Scott's Collectibles who would go around and support, but I don't think they were there the last year or so. It's not really excuse me. It's not really a convention where there's a lot of graded. Sorry, my chest's still bad. Well, there's a lot of graded stuff and things like that, Ephron. And with CGC's current kind of signature series, you don't really need it anymore. I quite like the sexy black labels. Yeah. Got a video, bit of a plug. Got a video coming out on Sunday about my 9 books that I've just picked up. Bat Dancing Scott Collectibles are there this year. Oh, good stuff. So there might be Scott's Collectibles do some great. They represent some great writers and artists.
Nice. Okay, and any more comments? You want to look at one more? Dr. Von Hoot has one here. It says, not only is CGC not going to be there, no comics to go to CGC will be there either.
That's because there's very few comic sellers there, Ephron. In terms of, there's lots and lots of self-published artists, writers, and all the rest of it, but there's very few big kind of long boxes, people selling comics and things like that. But if Scott's Collectibles are there, you'll be able to get some great sketch covers, and they'll sort out. If you go to Scott's Collectibles, they'll sort out the sketch, the signature, and then they'll process the CGC verification for you. So you just leave your book with them, and they'll do that.
Okay.
Fuzzy's just saying the artist for Absolute Superman only worked on it for a month after the original artist lost everything. Oh God! In the Brazilian floods, he only started a month before it was announced. Wow. I sometimes forget about those floods. Were horrific, weren't they? There was a lot of damage.
But Peter, since I'm going to be a thought bubble, if you want to give me any books to take back here, and I'll mail them for you to CGC.
Actually, I might take you up on that, Ephraim, because I've, like I say, not to keep plugging, but I've just got 9 books back, and it's reignited my passion for CGC. I'm going to be sending more in.
Yeah, save a couple bucks on shipping. I'll ship it. So
yes.
Okay, you are up next, sir.
So someone mentioned this earlier on. This is a relaunch of Aquaman. Not a character I've ever been massively drawn to, but I just like the look of this and I like the sound of it. So if you haven't been reading DC Comics, recently there's been a big kind of crossover event with Amanda Waller called, was it Ultimate Power or something like that?
Yeah, Absolute Power.
Absolute Power. The end of that mini-series, so spoilers, was that everybody had lost the powers. Amanda Waller had kind of managed to get all the powers off them. The DC heroes fixed that, and all of the powers came back to everybody. But they didn't come back in the same way. So some characters didn't get the powers back, like Barry Allen didn't get the Flash back. And then other characters got powers mixed up or changed. Basically, it was a way for DC to kind of put a bit more excitement into some stale characters, I guess. So I hadn't appreciated, but Aquaman apparently got a change to all of his powers. And this book says, in the wake of Absolute Power, Arthur Curry's powers have evolved to powerful new heights. And this is one king ready to use them to kick some serious butt. Like I say, never really been a massive Aquaman fan, although I did like his run when I think Peter David wrote him, and he got his hand eaten by piranhas and got a hook put on his hand and stuff. That was pretty cool. So yeah, I'll give this a go and see what it's like.
See, I like that when they lose their powers and they get them back, but then they change them up a little bit. I didn't know that they were going to mix them up. Yeah. Speaking of Aquaman, really quick, I was about to ask you that question. Or anybody that's checking us out right now, leave a comment. How did he grow his hand back? Does anybody know? Do you know, Peter?
I don't know if it was. I don't know
about that. Yeah,
I don't know if it was just part of one of the retcon events or something. Let one know in the chat if you know, or someone Google it for it. Von Hoot, I love Fishboy. He's great. Fuzzy, he does nothing for me as a character. Connie, I never got a big urge to own a lot of slabs. I own 2. One was very kindly given by Sean, and another I got in your mental health auction. Yeah, but I'm very much comics get thrown in the bag and read. Yeah. Nothing beats a good read. Connie. To be fair, Namor, Samara, Aquamarine, I've never been interested in any of the marine characters. Yeah, I see people go mad for Namor, don't they? But I'm not a big Namor fan. Ephraim, are you a fan of Namor?
Yeah, I mean, I always liked this character. I thought he was a little bit too pompous sometimes. I like him when he joined the X-Men a little bit, because when he comes a little bit more humanized, instead of being a pompous king all the time.
Yeah.
So he has a new series that's out. I haven't read it at all, so I'm not sure what this character is going through now. So
I think the only time I was really interested in Aquaman, to be honest, was the first Aquaman film, and it went downhill.
I like it.
It went downhill after that, but I liked the Atlantean side of things. I found that quite interesting. But yeah, we'll give it a shot, see what it's like.
I remember that. I think I mentioned it before in the past. During Comic-Con, when I went to Hall H, just when the new Justice League was coming out, Jason Momoa went running down the aisle dressed as Aquaman, and he had his trident with him. He just came running down. He got on stage and he slammed it on the floor. I was like, yeah, that is cool. I was like, that was a great entrance.
Fuzzy saying he's never seen the films. Number 1, I quite liked. Fuzzy, number 2 is horrendous. I would avoid that one at all costs. I really like the new 52 Aquaman and the Justice League. Good stuff.
Yeah. And I am next. I have not read The 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. I have no idea what it's about, but this cover just grabbed me. I'm going, is he going back to the Black Cat again? This is Amazing Spider-Man number 66. This is The 8 Deaths of Spider-Man continues. Spider-Man has been broken and someone needs to pick up the pieces, maybe an old flame. Now that the champion has fallen, I'm not sure who the champion is. Can the universe withstand what comes next? Are there any who can stand in the way of an inevitable God. I have not read anything about the 8 deaths of Spider-Man. Like I said, they're trying to always come up with new ideas to keep these characters fresh. And hopefully this will be a good read, but keeping my fingers crossed.
I'm surprised you've picked this cover, Ephraim, because I'm sure the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man Part 1 and 2, you picked those covers not last month but the month before because they were Scotty Young covers.
Okay.
And remember, it had Spider-Man kind of being each cover was a different kind of death.
Yeah.
So unless I just assumed Scotty Young was doing a cover for all 8 issues of this.
Maybe it is. Maybe I just didn't see it. I might have skipped right past it. Usually it did catch my interest. I'm not sure if I did or did not, But I just picked the book, so hopefully it's a good read. Yeah,
I'm kind of done with the regular Spider-Man title. To be fair, I've not picked it up since it's changed writers, so I might give this a go.
Do you think you'll ever go back to reading these books, or?
Like I say, that I can't remember the name of the last writer who was horrific. I might go back. This is an 8-part series, so that feels to me an ideal trade paperback to pick up and have a read of a mini series, So I'll probably give that a go. Fuzzy's saying it's not out yet, which is why we haven't read it. Very true, Fuzzy. On all 8 covers. Okay, yeah. And Von Hoot, we talked about Ultimate Spider-Man early, mate. It is, you're right, absolutely superb. Zeb Wells, that's it. Oh, yeah. Not the best. Not the best.
Yeah.
And Lewis is saying, I fell off at 50 issue. It was just awful. I don't know what. This is what I was saying at the start of the show, how they can put such a prominent character in the hands of, or at some point Marvel must have thought this isn't going right because the noise about the comic was so negative. Didn't hear anything positive about it,
I think they have a contract. Every book has a contract. Okay, we're going to sign you to do so many issues. That's what I'm thinking.
But and again, I guess it's like Fuzzy was saying earlier on, Ephraim. I don't know what the sales on Spider-Man are like.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, the big wigs at Marvel probably don't care whether we like the story or not. If we're selling, if people are buying the book, that's all they're interested in,
And I know sooner or later, issue 1000 is coming up. I think they're in the upper 800s or 900s by now. So, that's going to be a big pull to grab a bunch of people. See what happens with issue 1000. And you are next.
Ooh, I like the look of this. I did like the look at this. Von Hoot, this is a one for you, I think. That cover just kind of jumped out at us. And I thought, oh, that looks interesting. Well, what's that about? This is about Image Comics. And then that just first few words. 28 Days Later, which is an amazing film, meets The Ruins. And The Ruins is an amazing horror film as well. So I just thought, this immediately with just those 2 films mentioned has got me interested in this high stakes standalone horror story. After backpacking through Asia, a group of friends climb aboard the Siberian Express to start their journey home. Little do they know they've brought a one-way ticket to hell, as one of them has been infected with a bioweapon that will turn them into a monster who will slaughter everyone on the train. Just superb. Von Hoot said in the chat, The Ruins is awesome. Ruins is an amazing film. It's a one that I love going back to watch. So yeah, horror. I like me horror. You know that, Ephraim. I love the cover of this. The art style looks good. And it sounds like an intriguing story for me. And it's a one-shot. So it's one story. So perfect. Yeah.
Here we go. Indie books,
Yeah.
Always grab our interest. I'm going back to, gosh, you know what? I think next time we do this show, I'm going to force myself not to pick so many Marvel books. I think I've picked every Marvel book. Kitty Pryde is one of my favorite characters. And just whenever I see her phasing through a wall, I always expect to see Lockheed with her pet dragon, but he's not in this picture. But this is exceptional X-Men number 5. This is saying the past is the past doesn't make it so. And Kitty is carrying the weight of her choices. Violence, vengeance, and her life as Shadowcat are not so easily left behind, especially now that the rest of her team of new recruits knows the ugly reality of what she did in the shadows of Krakoa's fall. Kitty Pryde is just one character. You remember when she first came out, she was a gawky kid. I don't think not even a teenager yet, or just about a teenager, and how she has progressed throughout the decades into being this type of just, almost like Wolverine type, just killingness, just going at what she wants, she gets, just look at her face. She's angry. You know, you don't mess with her. You know, so this is one of my favorite characters. I know I've been picking a lot of Marvel characters or books this time around. Next time I won't pick as many Marvel books. But
yeah, if you pick what you want, mate, pick what you want. What interests you. I'm a big Kitty Pryde fan. I do like that character as well. But I have to say, I agree with the guys in the chat. The cover leaves a lot to be desired. It's not very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Connie's saying, did you say Pet Dragon? Yeah, Kitty Pryde for a long, long time. 20 years or so, maybe.
Yeah, Lockheed at least has been around for 20 years.
Yeah, since New Mutants, I think.
Yeah.
Has had a pet dragon called Lockheed, which quite often accompanies her. It's a great little character.
You're up next.
Oh, look at it. So again, sticking with the whole theme of it hasn't got to be a first appearance or a first issue we're talking about, just books I'm enjoying. And that is absolutely Geiger. I'm loving this series at the moment. This is issue 10. I will be definitely getting that Action Comics homage cover. I think that's just spectacular. I'm getting myself into Junkyard Joe at the moment. I'm trying to read up on him because I don't know much about him. Recently picked up this. This is the first appearance of Junkyard Joe, so keen to get into that one. If you're not reading many comics at the moment, I really would recommend you focus a little bit on some of the Ghost Machine line because I can't think of a bad title so far. This is very strong. I kick myself at the fact that I missed series 1 when it was out a few years ago. I've got the trade paperback now to read, but this is great. And I'm loving Hyde Street. Hyde Street is very, very cool as well. And Rook, they're all great. They're all great. So anyway, I'm babbling. This is Geiger issue 10, the return of Junkyard Joe. Geiger's quest to find a cure for his radioactive condition continues. He finds himself once again face to face with the US Army's most dangerous weapon. But with Geiger's powers grown out of control, who will come to his rescue? You won't believe it. Loving it. Great, great series. Just going to jump to the chat. Well, we've got Darth Lopez. Nice to see Darth Lopez. I hope you are well. Kate Pryde in Marauders is a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was when it was coming to the end of the Krakoa series. I can't remember which issue it was, but one of the roundup issues, there was a scene with Kitty Pryde taking down people, and it was pretty spectacular, the use of her powers. So she can be a beast when she wants to be, you're right. Von Hoot is just confirming everything. I like we'll get your take on Marvel because it's what I read the least these days. So yeah, people like to hear what we're reading. So that's good stuff. Connie is saying, I love Geiger. Good stuff. Junkyard Joe is fire. I just picked up the secret variant for Geiger for £6. It was going for 45 quid a few weeks ago. Wow, that's a bargain and a half, mate. That's a bargain. Ghost Machine, you can't go wrong with. I'm just catching up with the chat because I've got quite a few comments. Loving all these comments, ladies and gents. Thank you so much for that. Lewis, I need that first appearance to complete volume 1. Yeah, got it off the Facebook site. Got it for a reasonable price as well. So yeah, pleased to have that one. Kate Pryde in X-Men After Krakoa was destroyed, was brutal killer. Yeah, she was very, very cool. The first trade will make you appreciate it so much more. Yeah, I need to get it read, Fuzzy. I need to get it read. I have to stop buying every cover, mind you. They've gone for 3 covers per title. Yeah, it's too much in it. It's too much. I promised myself, Von Hoot, that I wouldn't go back into the whole variant kind of malarkey, and I ended up getting tons of bloody Monsters issue 1 covers, and I see myself picking up a lot of the variants to issue 2 as well because they're stunning, absolutely stunning. Where do I start with Ghost Machine related titles? Happy to give them a go. It kind of relaunched 10 months or so ago with Geiger 1, Red Coat 1, Rook 1, and I think was there another one? I can't remember. And you can kind of
had his own book that came out too.
Oh, sorry?
Junkyard had its own book too.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
You can pick those ones up back down. There are bound to be trades coming out soon, I would imagine. But then Geiger had a series before that. So people are recommending you go back and check that out as well.
This is volume 2 that we're talking about right now.
Yeah. And the current title, Hyde Street, if you like your kind of your horror Ice Cream Man anthology type stuff. I think that's going to be a cracker. First issue was superb. And Fuzzy's just confirming Geiger Dan, but they're all worthy. Geiger's a great read.
Yep. Good.
Smashing.
We all agree on Geiger, and that universe was really good. This one I just love these covers. So here I go again. Laura Kinney, Wolverine. She has her own series again, and she's fighting against Daredevil or Elektra. I don't think they've ever met in a comic book that I remember. Is New York City big enough for Wolverine and Daredevil? Wolverine is back in NYC, and what crosses her claws but the says of none other than Daredevil, woman without fear. Fear and hatred of mutants is at an all-time high, and if Laura can't sniff out a terrorist plot before its unveiling, humans will die and mutants will be to blame. Can Laura solve the mystery in time? So I think it's a great cover, and obviously issue 1 hasn't come out yet, the standalone of Laura Kinney Wolverine. But anybody who has been reading X-Men besides me knows that Krakoa is no longer around. So if they die, they die.
Yeah.
You know, they're not. There's no more resurrection for them. And except for Wolverine, the Wolverines always seem to, you know, their powers are healing. So, but yeah, hopefully it's a good series.
Is that a homage cover? I feel like I've seen that cover before, but with different.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I'm not sure who, but there's always two people back. I mean, it reminds me of Hulk and Thing, like back from the 1960s when they fought. You know,
it's a nice cover. I like that one. I do like that one. It looks cool. Looks cool.
And I love Elektra's Daredevil. I didn't think it would work, but it does for me. You know, I've always enjoyed that character as Daredevil now. Yep.
Nice.
And you are next. Here we go.
Oh, well, there we go. We've just been talking about this. So this is Hyde Street issue number 4. This has been a really interesting start. So the first issue kind of sets the scene of this. I don't know how you describe it. I don't want to spoil it for people, but this street, this Hyde Street, where people end up because they've done things bad in their life. And then there's people there, entities there that are kind of, I don't want to say bumping them off, but this little guy's culling them, as it were. It just feels really interesting. I've not described it well there, but it's a really interesting little read. I get a feeling of kind of Outer Limits, Twilight Zone kind of stuff to it. I think each issue is going to have a little standalone tale of people who end up on Hyde Street, but all interconnected by these characters. I've not read. On the Killer Comic Show tomorrow night, we're going to be reviewing Hyde Street. Is it Devour, I think, which is a side story to this, focusing on one of the characters. I've not read it yet. I'm going to read that tonight, but it looks really cool. This is by Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones does some incredible work. Can't do any wrong. The hit horror series continues. Witness, if you will, the demise of a good man in a town without pity. A caring man with aspirations to be known among his peers as one of Hollywood's finest actors, only to say these colleagues snicker at him when he's typecast as a famous film monster made of human patchwork parts. But, as we'll see, life imitates art in Tinseltown, down to a boulevard called Hyde Street. Wow, just amazing. Just amazing. Yeah.
I haven't read any of these books. Has issue 1 come out already? Obviously,
issue one's out, and then there's a kind of a spin-off or a one-shot, called Hyde Street. I think it's called Devour. Let us know in the comments if I'm right or wrong on that. Which again looks great, and I've heard good things about. So yeah, worth checking out, Efren. Just going to quickly jump to the chat. Shiny. Is there an app in the UK that's best for reading comics? I usually collect Harley-related shenanigans. Excuse me. There's a whole host of different apps, Shiny. I have used different ones in the past. The best one that I tend to use is on me Kindle. I use it on a Kindle, but it takes some getting used to reading electronically, I think. I much prefer to buy a book in my hand. What I tend to do is have a read on a Kindle, and then I'll try and go and buy the hardback or the actual soft floppy issues. There's a fantastic homage to the Scream painting for issue 2. Yeah, it looks stunning. Von Hood saying Kindle as well there. Yeah, Kindle. DC Universe is sub-based. Yeah.
So you were saying that High Street is connected to the Geiger, that universe?
Same universe, yeah. I believe so. It's in the Ghost Machine universe. Yeah.
This is my pick. When I first saw this cover, I thought it was Stanley Lau. or
it's
term,
nice.
but it's not. It's Phoenix #7, cover C by Ejkuri Sif. This is Ejkuri. I think that's the person's name. It's a Sif variant. I've been enjoying this book. It says, empowered by dark enchantments and working in concert with the evil machinations of the dark gods, the mad titan Thanos wields great galaxy wrecking power. Now he seeks to use it to destroy the Phoenix. But with Captain Marvel, Nova Sif, and Rocket Raccoon at her side, Jean Grey is ready to unleash some power of her own. In this series, Jean Grey is becoming more Phoenix than Jean Grey. Like she's out in the universe, like she wants to, go around the universe, so to speak, and just see what happens. And she's almost to the point where her and Scott, they have an understanding that, I got to do what I got to do for myself.
Yeah.
I'm drawn more to Phoenix now than I am to Jean Grey. And in the past, it always seemed like Jean Grey was always kind of holding that character back. And it's still Jean Grey, but Phoenix has seemed to take it a more upfront as far as his character's, personality is concerned. And she's going out more in the universe. And she realizes her and Scott, they may love each other, but, they may not stay together. She wants to do what she needs to do.
I've not read any of these. I kind of lost the will to live a little bit with Jean Grey and Phoenix, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah, it just seems that she's gained more control of the Phoenix character.
Yeah.
Like in the past, when she was Phoenix, her mind was more, like broken to pieces, but now she seems to be more in control or at peace that she is the Phoenix.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I might check it out. I do like that cover, mind. I do like that Sif cover. Fuzzy's confirming that High Street's not the same universe, but it is the same publisher. So it's under the same kind of banner, as it were. Nice to see a Phoenix cover without flames.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And you're up next.
Anthology horror. I love anthology horror. I'm loving Ice Cream Man. It's up to issue 43 now. This series, when it's good, it's good. But like any anthology TV series or comic series, it does have hit and miss issues. But I think in general, it's more hit than miss. This issue in particular has got us really intrigued. And a big thank you to Fuzzy for mentioning this, I think a week or so ago to us. I would have been picking this up anyway, but this has got us really excited. So this is a book full of one-page horror stories. So each page is a separate tale. Wow. And it's got some great writing talent going through that. Zoe Thorogood, who's amazing. Jeff Jones, Patton Oswald. There's some great talent in that. Now, it says they're all one-page horror stories, which I'm sure there will be, and I believe. But the thing with Ice Cream Man is there's always a kind of a narrative. So even if the tales don't feature the Ice Cream Man, he's in the background or he's walking past, or one of the characters you've seen in the previous issues is interacting in some way. So I'd kind of be disappointed if there's not some kind of thread throughout all of these one pages or some kind of joint narrative. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. And I think, as Fuzzy says, this could either be great or an absolute mess. It excites me, Fuzzy, but it excites us because I'm maybe going in hoping too much. I hope it has got that thread. But you're absolutely right. I've watched a lot of short story horror, and I've read a lot of I've just read a book called 666, where every story is exactly 666 words. Some of them are great, some of them are just dreadful. So this could be a real winner, or it could be crap. But I'm going to give it a go. It's got some great writing talent, so we'll see. Just before we move on to your next pick, Efren, we've got 16 people watching. Thank you so much, everybody. Please do make sure you go and check out Past Point Comics and give them a sub and give them a thumbs up. And if you fancy, check out Triple J Comics as well. Give us a sub and a thumbs up.
I've never read one Ice Cream Man book, and I'm just curious to see how they can finish and start a story on one page. If there's going to be a small windows, just to one page is not a lot.
Yeah. So
I'm definitely going to read this. I didn't realize, I didn't put two and two together when I said one page horror stories. I went, how are they going to finish that? But I think it can be done. A couple years ago, Peter sent me this link to YouTube of a horror video. It was less than a minute long, I think. It scared the bejesus out of me. I was like, oh my God, that they could get so much emotion out of me in I think it was less than a minute.
Mhm.
And it was just a quick little short movie. I was like, oh my God, it scared the crap out of me. Just that one little scene. I was like, God, thanks, Peter. So, it can't be done. Okay. Next, anything to do with like Marvel zombies, DC zombies, or vampires, I just enjoy. I don't know what it is about vampires, but this is DC versus Vampires World War V. This is issue 6 of 12. It says the truce is over and the war is here. Green Arrow, Damian Wayne, and the rest of the heroes bring the fight to Batgirl and her blood-sucking army. With the world on a collision course with total destruction, a new foe enters the fray, and they're on the hunt for Mr. Miracle. The vampire-human battle lines are about to be permanently redrawn. You see Mr. Miracle there holding up basically a baby, and the vampires are trying to get to the baby. I was like, wow. So I just loved it when there's books like with vampires and just against DC or Marvel or zombies. You know, I'm always there. And I think I've read a couple of issues already, and this is not the first iteration of DC versus vampires. There was some series about 2 or 3 years ago, so I think this is just a continuation. You know, there's some heroes left, and I just love this cover. You know,
so I've been reading a lot of the DC vampire stuff, and it's been really, really cool. I have enjoyed it, and I think that's a great cover. I mean, I'm not a big Mr. Miracle or Miracle Man, fan. But that cover is pretty impressive. I do like that.
Yeah. So yep, I'm definitely going to be reading this series. And you're oh my gosh, you're up next.
Yeah. So again, just more horror. I'm a big horror nerd, as you know. This cover jumped out at us, and it's Dark Horse. I quite like Dark Horse. And I just thought, oh, it's intriguing. But then I saw the name James Tynion, and I thought, oh, when James Tynion writes good horror, he writes damn good horror. Yeah. I think James Tynion, if I'm being honest, is hit-y-missy. Some of his stuff's great. Some of it I struggle a bit with. But The Deviant has been superb. Really enjoyed that. The Woods was superb. Nice House on the Lake. Lost us a little bit.
Yeah.
But normally, he's cracking. So saw his name attached and then read the synopsis and I thought, whoa. So in early 1900s, Henry returns home to the family home in the swampy pine barrens of southern New Jersey. One night he encounters a strange predator stalk in the woods. This sends the young scholar on a research project that uncovers the legend of Mother Leeds and the terrible birth of the Jersey Devil. I just think that sounds great. So yeah, keen to get into that.
Yeah, I mean, James Tynion, like you said, I love his work. So, sometimes it is hit and miss, but that's with any writer. It could be hit and miss, But overall, I really enjoy his work. And I remember when we asked Rodney Barnes, and he told us he had that board up right next to him. He's got like about 10 projects going all at once. So, hats off to anybody who can do that. Definitely. So, but I'm going to be reading this one. I've said before, scary movies, I'm always like weary about watching them, but when it comes to books, it's just something different with me, and I enjoy reading these types of books. So I'm definitely going to be picking this one up.
So Connie's just saying in the chat there, haven't read a good horror comic in a while. Von Hood saying Jimmy T can have more of my money when I get the final issue of the Deviant. Yeah, delayed. Tynion needs to write a rom-com to balance himself out. I'm not sure. And I think Joe Hill was one of the last ones I really enjoyed. Yeah, I love Joe Hill's work. Just going back slightly, Efren, to Ice Cream Man.
I'm going to go back to the or just...
No, just talking about it. Just a bit of advance notice for people watching, because we've got our usual loyal viewers who watch all of these shows. I've been prattling on about Ice Cream Man for years, and I'm very aware that lots of people haven't picked it up. I've got the first 6 volumes or something, I think, in floppy editions. But I'm just noticing that there's 2 hardback editions. So because I do like a hardback, I'm going to pick up volume 1 and 2 of the hardbacks and see which books they cover. Whichever floppies I don't need anymore on the next one of these shows, we'll give them away. And we'll give, if there's 6 floppies, we'll give them away to 6 different people, or six winners, and I'll send them wherever, just to get people reading Ice Cream Man and let us know what you think on the next show. And what we can do, if you are up for it, whoever wins a copy of Ice Cream Man, do a little review, and then we'll talk about it on the next episode, and we'll chat about it. So we'll give those away next episode.
Next episode, I'm gonna do a giveaway too. You know, there's some books that I have so many of them. I'm gonna be giving away more of my books. I got too many books, man. So we'll be doing some giveaways next show.
Lots of giveaways.
We have this great comment from Dr. Von Hood. Connie, check out Devil That Wears My Face. I agree 100%. We had the writer on our shows recently, about 2-3 months ago. Great story. You know,
yeah. Art by the amazing Alex Cormack as well. Yeah, so worth checking out.
I really enjoyed that series. Peter, I picked this for you. I go, Peter's got to pick this one. I don't know if I'm even going to read this book. So this is a pick that I chose for Peter because I know he's into horror. I have not read Creepshow at all, but I'm just picking it for Peter. So this is Creepshow Volume 3, Number 5, miniseries finale. Creepshow wraps with a pair of delightfully dark tales. Renowned writer Ed Brisson, Batman, and acclaimed cover artist Cale, I won't try to pronounce his last name. Let me see. Making the interior work debut, bring a frightening fable that starts with hiking and camping and ends with kicking and screaming. So, Peter, I just picked this for you. I don't even know if I'm going to read it, but when it comes to horror, I think of you first. So.
I'm loving the eyeballs on the skewer.
Yeah,
being roasted over the fire. That's really cool. I do like that. Like that. It looks very good. Connie's going to check out Devil That Wears My Face. Connie, you'll not regret it. It's because I know it's an interesting read, and it's got some great twists in it. Yep. Connie's saying she's not read Ice Cream Man. Make sure you watch next month, Connie, and we'll give away some copies. So hopefully you'll grab a copy. And the joy with Ice Cream Man is you don't need to read them in sequence. Each tale, each issue is its own standalone book, really. Von Hood, I buy all Creepshow, but I've not actually been impressed by any I've read. Yeah, I got really excited about those recent, is it Tales of the Abyss anthology horror, which was meant to be in the old AC vein, and I like some of the stories, but it started to drift off a little bit. But I've not read much Creepshow. I'll probably pick. I love the cover. I'll probably pick this one up.
I've never read one, but I picked it for you. So
thank you.
You're welcome. I am. Oh no, you're next.
Me, just sticking with horror. Do you know what I mean? You've got us on the horror vibe again. This again just kind of jumped out, and I thought, "Ooh, this looks interesting." So this is When I Lay My Vengeance Upon Thee. I'm into at the moment. I'm into religious horror, so I'm always a big fan of exorcisms and things like that. Recently, just if anybody's thinking of popping to the cinema, recently saw Hugh Grant in Heretic, which is all about religion. It's friggin' amazing. There is some stunning stuff in there that really makes you think about the origins of religion and all that kind of stuff. Well worth a watch. But I saw this and I thought this sounds interesting. Excuse me. So Father, I can't read that, Barara, is a disgraced priest haunted by his past and the tragic death of a child. His penance is he's exiled to a remote South American town to apprentice on the Ignamic Father Stagan, can't do these names, who's a controversial exorcist. So it's all about the church's use of exorcisms and things like that. So yeah, so definitely gonna pick this one up and give it a bit of a read. Only downside is I did look at the covers. There's 4 or 5 different covers for this, and none of the cover artwork really blew us away. But we'll still give it a read and see what it's like.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the covers are a little bit, not too, doesn't really stick out there. But yeah, hopefully it's a good storyline. I'm going to be reading it too. And you want to go through the comments really quick before we go to the next one?
Let's have a look. Great Spider-Man homage for the next issue of Creepshow. We've not seen that one, Fuzzy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not seen that. I'll have to check that one out. Yeah. Epitaphs from the Abyss. I like that a bit more. I think it's, again, like any kind of those style of books. Some of the stories are great. Others I was like, oh, not so keen on. But yeah, it's not bad. I love religious symbology and horror. Yeah, me too, Connie. Some of my favorite horror. Really, really would recommend you checking out Heretic, Connie. Hugh Grant is amazing in it. What's scarier than organized religion?
No comment.
Yeah. Stand on Lego. Shiny. I watched the original Omen film the other day. Super cool. We've done it over on One Good Scare Show, Shiny. We've done our review of the Omen. I think you're right, mate. I think it stands up even to this day. Is a really, really strong movie, proper creepy movie as well. And some of the special effects are really good. There's a lot of interesting stuff on it, Shiny. If you do some Googling about the production, because there was an awful lot of very strange stuff happened to cast members of that movie. Fuzzy, I love Sister Act. That's about his limit.
I am next. This is an Image book. It's Finders Keepers, number 1. It's a one-shot. Writer Vita Ayala. Let me see here. Comics powerhouse Vita Ayala, New Mutants. Let me see here. What is it about? God, it's a while here. It's a new type of action-adventure tale following a Puerto Rican reverse Indiana Jones, a thief stealing from museums to return artifacts back to their native cultures.
I like that.
Books that are different from the normal superhero books. And that's why I chose this one. So so it's called Finders Keepers number 1. It's just a one-shot. So hopefully it's a good storyline. And you are up next.
So I don't know. This has got the potential to be utter rubbish. I'm into my nostalgia at the moment. Dynamite are doing a lot of nostalgia type books. We've got, I think, Space Ghost by Dynamite as well, but we've got Thundercats and all that kind of stuff. None of them have been stellar. Now, Silverhawks is a property I know very little about. I think I was aware of it back in the 80s, but I don't remember watching it, and I don't remember reading the comics, so it's not a one I know a lot about. But the covers are pretty, as with usual Dynamite. They've got about 462 different covers for you to choose from, and I thought I'd give it a go. Let us know in the comments. Are any of you guys familiar with Silverhawks? It's not one I've read much of, but like I say, I will read the first issue of this and see what it's like.
When I first seen this cover, I thought it had something to do with ROM, Space Knight.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, was this a ROM book? And then I started reading it. Yeah, I don't know much about Silverhawks either.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a good. Any book any book that we read, we always keep our fingers crossed, especially for issue number 1.
Yeah.
And I am next. G.I. Joe. David Finch is one of my favorite artists, and he did the cover of this book. And this is G.I. Joe number 3, written by Joshua Williamson. The biggest comic book launch of the decade gets deadly as tensions rise within the G.I. Joe and punches are thrown. Cobra hunts a venomous new ally. I have never read a G.I. Joe book.
Really?
Just like when the new Transformers, the new reiteration, I have never read a Transformer book in that universe, Enron universe, I think they call it. So I have been enjoying the Transformers, and hopefully I'll be enjoying this one too. It's a G.I. Joe book. Like I said, I just have never read one.
So I've read them back in the day in the old UK format because I watched the cartoon and I had all the toys and played with the toys, and then I've read some of the kind of the relaunch. So I read Duke. And I read the first few issues of Scarlet and the first few issues of Destro, though I don't think I've finished them. I'm keen for this. I think this has got potential to be really good. So I'm looking forward to this. This should be interesting.
There are so many great artists out there, and there's some that I think they don't get their props enough. And I think David Finch is one of those artists. He's a really great artist.
He does some great work.
Yeah,
does some great work. Von Hoot's just saying about Silverhawks. I know it exists, but don't remember the cartoon. Oh. And Fuzzy's saying the Silverhawks leads into a Thundercats crossover.
We'll be reviewing that book when it comes out. So
yeah, that doesn't excite us, Fuzzy.
Peter is done basically. So when we do this monthly video, we don't tell each other how many books we are picking. So basically, we used to do like 5 each, and then we said, why don't we just like start expanding and just pick as many as we want? So the remaining ones are mine. And this is part of the Geiger universe, I believe. What's the name of that universe called again? I keep forgetting.
Ghost Machine.
Ghost Machine. I love this series, and this character's Red Coat number 9. It says cover C. This artist, Steve Lieber, And the last name grabbed my attention because that's Stan Lee's last name. His birth name, his last name is Lieber. So I'm not sure if there's any, if they're related at all. But Stan Lee was known as Stanley Lieber at birth, and his brother Larry Lieber, So I'm not sure if they're related at all. But I just thought I'd throw that in there. Everyone has a drinking buddy, but there's none more magical than Johnny Appleseed, an American legend. Johnny lived an adventurous life, particularly when he crossed paths with our immortal British Redcoat. So I've been enjoying this series since it started. Albert Einstein was in the very first issues when he came out with Redcoat. So it's a highly enjoyable series. I just highly recommend it.
I love this series. And Von Hootwright, the last issue, was just stunning. It's part of the Ghost Machine title, but it's the unnamed universe that the guys are writing.
Okay, good to know.
Lewis is saying as well he loves Redcoat. That's a great thing. So when this all first started, I have to say, and there was this Geiger and Rook all around the same time. Redcoat was the book I thought, I'm not sure I'm going to stick with, but actually I'm loving it. I think it's a really interesting character. Yeah, good pick.
This character, the power he has immortality, but originally it was going to go to Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
But he just happened to be there when it was all happening, and he imbued that power. But he can only stay in the United States. They talked about it in the very first arc of it. Once they leave the United States, they just basically die. And Benedict Arnold is around too. It's a great story, and I just highly recommend it. My second one is Seasons #1. It's by Rick Remender. It says summer, winter, spring, and autumn are the Seasons sisters, the daughters of the renowned Seasons detective. 10 years ago, their famous parents disappeared, left to raise themselves. The sisters formed an unbreakable bond. Now that bond is tested as the sisters fall prey to sinister forces. So just that, opening paragraph just grabbed my attention. And I love the cover. It's different. Like I said, I just really love these indie books now. So I'm going to give this a try.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. I like that. I do like that. And I love Rick's work as well. The Sacrifices is very, very good.
Oh, yeah. He is really. Yep, that's a good storyline too.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's correct as in the chat. I think it's Rick Remender who does Deadly Class. Deadly Class is a brilliant book. Really like that. Connie, hear me out. I love this universe as much as I've read it, but does everything need to be a universe? Can't books just be standalone? Yeah, good point. Good point.
Well, they haven't crossed over except for
don't think so.
Drunkard Joe has shown up on Geiger.
Yeah,
but it's maybe the same universe, but there hasn't been that. I think they're leading to that eventually.
But it is an interesting point because during this show, I'm confused as to which universe they sit in. Do you know what I mean? So Redcoat isn't part of the Geiger universe, I don't think, or I don't know. It is a little bit confusing.
Well, last year I gave you that ash can of this universe, and it does have a line showing where everything's happening. Timeline. So we'll see. Yeah. And I think I have a couple more books here. So I picked. These are my picks. Still, this is Jump Scare #1. It says from the co-creator of The Sixth Gun in Harrow County comes a new action horror superhero event that ties into the hit Beyond Mortal series. In a world rife with crime, horror, and bloodshed, Jump Scare is the hero we deserve. Strong, fast, violent, and able to conjure any weapon, any horror movie she's seen. And she's seen a lot of horror movies. So I love the cover, first of all. There's a lot of things going on with it.
It's by Cullen Bunn as well, and I love Cullen Bunn's work.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. I can't believe I missed that one.
Yeah. So this is why we do this show, So I go, Peter's got to pick this one, but he didn't. So I got to pick it. Speaking of horror and exorcisms, this is an ongoing series. This is The Exorcism at 1600 Penn. This is basically the president of the United States is, her daughter gets possessed and all hell starts breaking loose. I think it just happens in issue #1. They show the possession at the very last page. And I haven't read issues #2 or 3, so it's an ongoing series. It is a mini series, but like The Exorcism at 1600 Penn, I go, what a great start to a series, So I really enjoyed the first issue.
Basically, Efren, this is a series about a horrific evil entity being in the White House. Is that right? Yeah.
It is. I just happened to pick this book before the election yesterday. I'm not going to go into that at all. But this is at Penn So yeah. So hopefully the series continues to be good. First issue I really, really enjoyed.
Very cool. Fuzzy's just saying Hornsby and Halo look fantastic from Ghost Machine. I've not seen any press about them, Fuzzy. Send us a couple of links on Insta, mate.
Is
I
that
can't
book
remember.
out now or is it coming out?
No, these are the two that are planned to be coming out next, I think, from that, from that
Okay.
universe.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
interesting. And I started The Exorcist at 1600 twice and haven't got into it. I need to try again. I've not picked this one up yet. I need to get back down there.
Maybe closer to home, but it's some part of the neck of the woods, you know.
Von Hoot is on the case. He's keeping me right. Right, here's the breakdown. Geiger, Junkyard Joe, and Redcoat are the unnamed universe. Hyde Street and Devour are separate. Rook Exodus is separate. Hornsby and Halo are the
And
Rockefellers are separate. Okay. So Geiger, Junkyard Joe, and Redcoat are all the same. So they potentially could cross over with each other.
Yeah. Cool.
But they are. Junkyard Joe's crossing over with Geiger.
Yeah.
Thank you, Von Hoot. Appreciate that.
Okay. I think this is my last pick. This is a Jenny Frison cover. But it says the Jenny Frison variant cover for Hello Darkness will be bagged and not publicly previewed due to sexually explicit material. I've never seen a Jenny Frison is like one of my favorite artists, but I've never seen one that's, that's going to have to become bagged. I was curious to see what the cover is. And this is Hello Darkness number 7 by Garth Ennis. And I don't think I've read, if I have read these series, I don't remember it, but it says, does your beloved prefer the putrid stench of corpse flowers or the warm metallic aroma of flowers made of corpses? I go, damn, that's some question. So I'm curious to see what this cover is. And when they just posted this basic blurb on there, it just grabbed my attention. I don't know if anybody has read Hello Darkness. I think I have read it now that I remember, but it hasn't stuck in my mind. The story.
I've not read it yet, but Charlie over in the Killer Comic Show has read it, I believe, and he's really enjoying it.
Okay.
Everybody's excited about the concept of seeing some boobies. Boobies. Von Hoot still tell Blizzard is also unnamed. I don't think I've read Blizzard. Don't know what that one is, mate. Jenny Frison's work is stunning. So
We'll see how this storyline goes. I've read it, but it doesn't really remember. I don't remember the episodes that well, but it just grabbed my attention when they wouldn't even show the cover. Nope, no way. We are done with our advanced orders, and Peter and I, we do more. We do a couple more segments, and this is nope, no way. This is one book that Peter says he's not gonna. It just doesn't agree with us, and this is just our opinions. So we just. Something about these books just doesn't, jive with us too well. And you are up first, Peter. Yeah.
So I've just got no interest in this, and it's not that it's a bad book, and some people might like it, I'm sure. But these are characters I've never heard of. It's a new formation of the Infinity Watch. I'm assuming it's linked to the Infinity Stones and the Infinity Gems.
Yeah.
Infinity Watch is made up of the most powerful beings in the universe, which should at least make them feel comfortable. But after the mysterious antagonist who showed up last issue ran the table on them devastatingly, everything in existence is in deep trouble. The antagonist is Phil Coulson, Death himself. I don't know. It just I've got no interest in it, I guess. I think probably because I don't know any of the characters. So yeah, it's just a one that I'm not going to be picking up.
When you picked this, and when the minute I seen the title Infinity Watch, I'm going, God, they're still trying to draw out the Infinity Stones and all that stuff. So I kind of agree. And then when they had Phil Coulson on here too, I'm going, what is this about? Yeah. So I kind of agree with you. And I haven't read issue number 1. It hasn't come out yet. But yeah, I kind of give it a thumbs down too. It wasn't my cup of tea, so to speak. I know the Flash is one of your favorite characters, Peter, and I started reading this series. Wally West is now the Flash. I normally don't stop reading a book. I mean, there's a few books that I have stopped reading when the Hulk was in a spaceship. That completely lost me. And the Ultimate, Ultimate X-Men that just came out. There are books right now where I stopped reading them. I really like the character Wally West. Don't get me wrong, but this series, I think. I like when odds are stacked against a hero. And I think they brought in his family. He's married now. He's got 2 kids. His 2 kids got powers. His wife is pregnant and she got temporary powers because of the baby inside of her. And this storyline I just didn't like. I like it when the hero is like down in his luck, Peter Parker. You're with Mary Jane, boom. We're going to get rid of Mary Jane. You're on your own. Down in his luck, Peter Parker. And I just stopped reading this series. And like I said, this is just my opinion. I mean, I love the character overall. I mean, I like him more than Barry. But I just didn't like this at all. I just gave him too much of a family unit. And I like characters that are standalone, down in their luck. And that's why I stopped reading this book.
So I don't mind the Flash family element to an extent because I liked the original relationship between him and Linda West. But this book for me just doesn't do anything. So I really tried hard to enjoy this book because I like the character of Wally, but it's just hard work. And to be fair, again, I've not read the last 4 issues or so, but I just gave up. It was just not for me.
Yeah, I just gave up on it. And it's hard for me to give up on a book. I read it no matter what.
Yeah.
But there's some stories that's like, oh my God, this is just a little bit too much for me. So I stopped reading it. And like I said, this is just my opinion, So, yep. And next one up is comic book review. This is a segment where Peter and I actually review a book that we have been reading. And you are up first, sir.
Oh, okay. So this is Frankenstein from the Universal Monsters line from Image. This line was so exciting for me, being a big fan of Universal Monsters. We got Dracula, which was good.
Yeah.
But in reflection, looking back on it, it was good. But it was nothing new, really. I did like the art style. We then got what you call it? The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I enjoyed that, but I cannot think what happened in the last issue. So it might be that I didn't even read the last issue. And then Frankenstein, and I've never been blown away with this from issue 1. I guess my worry is that they feel like they're getting progressively less interesting to us, which is mind-boggling. This series, basically, each issue's got a different take on an element, a body part that's kind of been taken. It's all right. It's interesting. Issue 3 was interesting to a point, but nothing here has blown us away, which is really sad. I want to be more excited. I want to be enjoying this, excuse me, a lot more. The art's nice. The covers are nice, but I don't know. It's not what I'd hoped it would be. So I guess in general, it's worth a read, but it's not blown us away as I'd hoped. You're reading this one, Efren, are you?
This is what I like about our show. So obviously, is our opinions. I have loved this book.
Yeah.
I like the way they delve into each character more. The craziness of Dr. Frankenstein, I believe his name is. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I like the way they show his craziness, and I like the way they show Frankenstein, the monster, how he was created. And they have a little child in the storyline too that's figuring it all out because he lost his dad at the beginning, and he figured out that they're grave robbers. And I have enjoyed this. I just like the way they're delving into more the characters more in depth, like their personal lives, so to speak. I am caught up with it, and I've just enjoyed it.
And that's fine. Each to their own, Efren. It's
Exactly.
And the chat's mixed as well. Some people are saying they're digging it. Fuzzy's saying best thing's been the covers. Interestingly, Fuzzy's saying Wolfman's up next. I'm hoping that's really good. I'm looking forward to that. Jerry Friesen has done the last issue for all 3 stories so far, and they've all been magnificent covers. Yeah, your cover for 4 is another banger. Yeah, beautiful.
So yeah, I have enjoyed this book. So.
Tragedy's loving it as well. He's loving Frankenstein. Maybe I've just read it at the wrong time. I need to go back, and what I'll probably do is once this is concluded, I'll go back and reread it as one whole story and see what I think.
My pick is a book that I talked about recently. Is The Exorcist at 1600 Penn Street. I just really like these series, like The Devil That Wears My Face or His Face. I've always enjoyed it, when exorcism is concerned. This all happens in the White House, and we bring this up here. it happens as Kelly Doyle has just been elected the first woman president of the United States, and boiling political tension could spill over at any second, having to balance being a mother to 2 teenagers and navigating the shifting media landscape, all while preventing World War III. Has Kelly spread thin, but she could never predict that the nation's hollowed halls would soon become a demonic battleground for good versus evil. I was like, oh God, I just really enjoy this storyline. Like I said, for some reason, scary books, I love reading.
Yeah.
So, and this is by IDW, and I like the character. Second on the right hand side cover, they show like her daughter, and you can see like a demonic position right behind them, over like the halls of justice. So yeah, I have enjoyed this book.
I need to get on this. I do need to get on this. It looks great. So yeah, right up my street.
Okay, back to the past. This is where Peter and I just picked 2 covers that Back to the Past that we have enjoyed. And I got a video for it. Where's my little video? I haven't done this for a while. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh, here we go. We spared no amount of money.
Yeah, the production levels on this show are amazing.
So I was like that. So this is Back to the Past. Peter and I each pick a cover, and I have picked the same cover like in months, back-to-back months. And so I think Peter had to remind me because Bud, you picked that last month. I went, God. So, but I made sure that I didn't. But Peter, you are up first.
I'm in a bit of a Spawn mood at the moment. So this is prompted really by the fact that I've just picked up a copy of Spawn #1, a graded copy. And also McFarlane's just released a very, very sexy statue, which is based on this cover, and it looks just like that. And it just got us to thinking about how classic a cover this is. It's so iconic. I think it looks amazing. So yeah, went for this one. I love the use of the colors. I love the kind of the fluorescent green, the fact that it's reflecting in his outstretched hand there, and the design of Spawn as a character. I think sometimes I don't give enough props to, because it is a really, really cool looking book. So yeah, that's my pick. Love this cover.
This is one of the few books that I know of that have not been rebooted, going back to issue #1. Yeah. Issue number 300 was a few years ago. So it's still ongoing. It's amazing. This book's been out since 1992.
Yeah.
The story and art by Todd McFarlane. Yeah, I have a couple of these books too. Yeah, I've never read the story. I never read the book, but I just picked up issue #1 when it first came out.
Yeah. Just before we move on to yours, everyone got a few comments just to mention. Excuse me. James, ridiculous. They never elect a woman president. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lewis, anyone reading Aliens versus Avengers issue 2? Issue 1 was great. I've not seen issue 2 yet, but I loved issue 1. I thought issue 1 was really strong. So I'm looking forward to reading issue 2. I forgot about this. How many issues are out of Exorcism? I think it's only the first issue being out so far.
First issue has come out, yeah.
Fuzzy saying issue 2 took too long to come out and lost interest. That's a good point, Fuzzy. I feel like I read issue 1 a long time ago, so it must have been. Has it been delayed already? Can't have been bloody delayed already. It's only issue 2. Crazy. Shiny. My Spawn. This is the most 90s ass cover ever. It's cool.
Yeah.
Again, I repeat what I said yesterday. Spawn is still $2.99. If Todd can do it, anyone can do it.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, there's a video at the moment. I'm not going to say the individual's name because it gets on my nerves. But there's an individual who's put a video out at the moment which basically says that Todd McFarlane's kind of a influencer, cash grabber kind of thing. I think you're right, Fuzzy. I think Todd McFarlane loves the industry, and with his comic books and his action figures, he does his very best to keep the prices as low as possible. This is a guy who's a multi-millionaire. He could have retired years ago, but he's still working hard within the industry he loves. So yeah, big props to the Todd. I think he does a lot of good work.
Okay. What is next? This is my
look at that.
I was going to pick another cover, but I decided to go with this one. The picture on the right is not a cover. It's the splash page, the last splash page of issue number 132. Wolverine has been beaten. He's down in the sewers, and he goes, basically, it's my turn now. And to me, Wolverine was always a great character, but to me, this put him up to the upper echelon of characters that nobody wants to mess around with. And this is issue number 133. He fights against the Hellfire Club. All the X-Men have been defeated. Wolverine is the last X-Men standing. And to me, I enjoyed this character, but this just brought him more to the forefront, you know.
Yeah.
The character. This issue came out in May of 1980. Cover price was $40. To me, this is one of the best combinations of writer and artist was Chris Claremont and John Byrne run.
Yeah.
I would love to get an autograph by John Byrne, but that man he just doesn't do conventions or signings at all, even private, that I know of.
I think I've got a John Byrne signature.
Oh my gosh, he was. I don't know. Not to go on a different tangent, but he doesn't have to do them if he doesn't want to. But just, I mean, if he started doing just signings again, even just private ones, you know, I know it's not all about money, but he would get a lot of money. I want his signature. I would love to get his signature, you know, but he just doesn't do it. You know, he just basically retired. But I love this series run, and this one just brought Wolverine to me more in the forefront as the top X-Men.
Great pick. Great pick. You've got my little grey matter turning now. I think I've got a John Byrne signature, but I can't remember on what or why I've got it.
Got to go look for it.
Yeah, I'll have to go and look at it. The guys are just talking about Todd. He's a businessman. That's his job. Absolutely. He couldn't agree more, mate. Couldn't agree more. He's smart as hell. I suspect he may not make money directly on the comics. He uses them as a loss, and he has to pimp the toys, which make him a fortune. He's smart enough to know owning your own IP is gold. Yeah, you're right, Von Hood. But I would say as well, mind, these toys are still reasonable prices, I think, for the detail and the tooling that goes into them. And if you watch him on YouTube when he's talking about these comics and his action figures, there's no denying the guy's full of enthusiasm and energy, loves what he does, which is so nice to see, you know.
Little side story about Todd McFarlane. He's a big sports fan. Back in the day when Mark McGuire and the player for the Cubs, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but they topped Babe Ruth's single season home run record. He paid millions and millions of dollars for that baseball. It turns out later on they were on steroids. So I'm sure the value of that ball isn't as worth as he's paid like
Really?
$3 million. Yeah. And
Wow.
It was until afterwards that they found out that they were on steroids. So I'm sure the value of that ball wasn't as much as everybody thought it was. Yeah. Okay, this is our last segment, I believe. Read of the week. We each pick one book that's coming out next week, November 13th. Just one book we're looking forward to be reading. And Peter, you're up first.
Yeah, this is a one. Power Rangers has never been my thing. I think for me, the show was just too silly and too cheesy. I probably came into it at the wrong age. I think I was probably too old when it kind of started hitting the UK. So it never really floated my boat. And I've tried over the years. I tried with the relaunched movie, which was all right. I tried with the kind of the retcon movie thing they did last year or the year before and thought it was horrific. But then I picked up Power Rangers The Return, I think it was called, earlier in the year, and really enjoyed it. So a bit like I think it was Connie was saying earlier about the X-Men, Power Rangers is so big and so convoluted and so multi kind of faceted that I thought, crikey, I can never get into an ongoing Power Rangers series because there's so many years worth of mythology and stuff behind it. And then this came out. So this is their version really of the Ultimate Universe, I guess. It's a resetting of Power Rangers, ideal for jumping on points for people like myself who don't really know a lot about it. It says it's a brand new era featuring brand new cast of characters, excitement and attitude. In the vein of Marvel's Ultimates, get ready for an experience of a new team, new mentor, and a threat to Earth unlike anything you've seen before. So for me, this is ideal because I can get the Power Rangers feel without needing to go back on all that 20, 30 years worth of continuity and different versions and variants and stuff like that.
I agree 100%. I'm going to be reading it too. And, you know, because I've never read a Power Rangers book in my life. I know all about, I don't know all about the Power Rangers, but I know their characters and what they do, you know, from the cartoon, well, not the cartoon show, but the show that was on TV quite a few years ago. But yeah, I'll be reading this too. Give it a try. Since I never read it, you know, like their own ultimate version of the Ultimate Universe of Power Rangers. believe you said. So I'll be reading it too. You know,
Good
looking forward
jumping
to
on
it too. A good jumping on point. Yep.
Just jump into the chat before we move. Fuzzy's got this on order as well. Never any Power Rangers, but if this works, I'll stick with it. Yeah, I'm the same, Fuzzy. I'll give it a go. Connie, I was a Power Rangers kid, but the comics overwhelmed me. Yeah, I think the reviewed one on the good old Nerd Herd a while ago, Connie, and I asked for Phil or someone to send us like a list of books of what I need to read. And just the list blew me brains. I thought, Jesus, how on earth am I meant to get into this? Because it was so convoluted. I thought, nah, it can't be chewed. Fuzzy saying the one shot out last week was stories all written by former Power Rangers actors. I'll check that one out. I missed that. I need to just sit down and read them all because I'm actually rewatching Wild Force again and it's making me nostalgic. Yeah. And finally, I vote you keep the show going another 2 hours, as this has been fun. I enjoy talking comics way more than drama clickbait. Oh, don't get us started on that Von Hoot. It's interesting.
Well, we're glad whoever shows up. You know, we always appreciate it. You know, it's like we said, comic books are just, you know, one of our driving forces in our lives. You know, we enjoy talking about them. And this is the last or second to last slide. And my book that I'm choosing for next week, and yes, it's a Marvel book, and yes, I'm still reading this no matter what, is Uncanny X-Men #5. I have been enjoying this, and the first arc, and this is issue #5 is just coming out next week. It says the brutal conclusion to the Red Wave storyline is here. The Uncanny X-Men face an unstoppable force of evil and death who reveals a shocking secret.
Loving that cover, Efren.
Yeah, it's a horror type cover, and they have introduced new mutants in this series so far, and basically this group of X-Men is Rogue, Gambit, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, and Jubilee.
Okay,
so just 5 of them, and they do interact with other X-Men characters, but they're a standalone group right now because you know the X-Men have been splintered. And they try to get other characters to join them, like Kitty Pryde, and she said, "No, leave me alone."
You're Tyson is back to X-Men, aren't you? I like that cover. I might have to pick that one up.
I have been enjoying this book, and issue #5 is coming out next week.
Nice.
That's all, folks. We had 44 slides today.
Wow.
So, you know, we really enjoyed
Nearly 2 hours. Nearly 2 hours.
Nearly 2 hours. We can just go on for another 19 minutes or 18 minutes, and we'll have 2 hours. I was going, boy, we hit that hour spot really quick, you know. But this is a monthly show that Peter and I do. We take turns hosting it, so to speak. It's on both our channels at the same time. We share shows, and we just put it on both of our channels. So whether you're watching on my channel or Peter's channel, we appreciate it. Next month, Peter will be in charge. I'm going to send him the slides, and he's got to get everything ready.
Good stuff.
Do you have any more comments, Peter, or is that it? Should I do the ending?
No, Von Hoot is saying I'm totally buying that cover, and Connie's saying it's a great cover as well. If I can just do a bit of a plug, we've got Killer Comic Show tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, so please do go and check that out. And please give her a sub. Friday night, 9 o'clock, we've got One Good Scare Show, live show, so again, check that out. And next Tuesday, we've got episode 2 of our new show, where we'll look at a year in geek culture. So last time we did 1977, and we'll cover TV shows, comic books, movies, and toys that were released in that year. And next week, we're doing your year of birth, Efren. So, 1959.
Yeah, I'm a 50s kid, believe it or not. You know, I just got in there the last year of 1959. So, and Peter does a show every Tuesday mostly. We fills all these topics, 1959, or talks about comic books or entertainment, stuff like that. So Peter has a show basically every Tuesday. And I'm going to be doing my show Up on Comics, my own version of just talking about comic books, movies, TV shows, entertainment. And I think that's about it. Should we bring in looks like somebody's trying to jump in. Should we bring him in? No? Okay, we'll wait till we talk to him afterwards. So that's all, folks. We will be back next month. Oh, next week, I'm going to be in England. So you know it.
The party starts. The party starts.
If you guys see me at Thought Bubble, please come up and say hi to me. And if I look at you blankly, you got to say your name. Okay. But until next month, folks, thanks for checking out our show, and we will be back next month.